What's going on, everyone? This is Shred. Welcome to the Shredcast, brought to you by Shred Gaming. I am joined by special guest Kennybomb 4K. How you doing today, Kenny?
What's going on, man? I'm doing good. Doing good.
Good, good. And we are here to talk about Mortal Kombat, obviously, and a little bit of wrestling as well, because I'm actually really interested in see what Kenny has to say about all that. And I want to know a little bit of the correlation between Mortal Kombat and wrestling, because I'll admit, Street Fighter as well. Fans who are into Mortal Kombat and fans are into Street Fighter, are also into wrestling. Would you agree with that? Like, there's some sort of correlation there.
You see a small mix between the two
Mm-hmm.
on my end, but not a big correlation. Seems like on my end, wrestling's kind of like a bubble, and people
Mm-hmm.
who like wrestling want to stick to that, and they don't want to go outside of it. But yeah, you got a few people who will venture out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like that was just like one particular thing, and this is kind of like a small segment of the podcast, but that is one thing I particularly noticed was like I follow, other content creators, and they'll also not necessarily make content on wrestling, but they will be
Mm,
following wrestling and talking about
yeah,
wrestling. So I was like, dang, fans who are really into, Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter, not so much other fighting games, especially like anime fighters, but like more so just Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter. They're also really into wrestling.
yeah, that's something I noticed as well. A lot of people they'll be into it, but they really won't talk about it unless you
Mm-hmm.
ask them, or they'll see like I'm doing wrestling stuff, and they'll be like, "Hey, there's wrestling stuff." I'm like, "Oh, I didn't even know you were into it." Just based on your content, you'll never know. So.
Right.
I think that's why, because it's just like it's not a lot of people who would be into both things. Like in my comment section, I'll see
Mm-hmm.
some people on my Mortal Kombat content and the wrestling content, but it's not a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the wrestling fans will come on the Mortal Kombat videos and be like, "Hey, this wrestling thing's going on." So kind of like a balance you got to keep.
Like, you'll make Mortal Kombat videos and someone will comment and being like, "Yo, something's going on in wrestling, bro." It's like like
Yeah,
like going
this
back and forth.
like yeah, I just
Yeah.
posted a wrestling video before this one, so
Mm-hmm.
let's keep that here. So
And
I keep it balanced.
do you mostly keep to like AEW, or do you follow others?
So growing up, I was always a WWE, WWF guy, but
Mm-hmm.
just recently, since AEW came out, I kind of moved over that way just because WWE puts out so much content and it's hard to keep up with. Monday
Mm-hmm.
Night Raw is 3 hours a week now. SmackDown's on a Friday, and then
Mm-hmm.
it's 2 hours, so it's hard to catch that on Fridays. But AEW's in the middle of the week on a Wednesday. Wednesdays are normally pretty easy, kids' school,
Mm-hmm.
not really much going on, so I can always catch that one. So yeah, I'd say right now, as far as what I'm watching, it's mostly AEW, but I keep up with WWE as well.
Is there, so please forgive me because I don't watch wrestling,
Oh yeah,
but
it's fine.
it is one of those things though that I wish I did, uh, um, just because of like friends talking about it, So I wish I kind of knew what was going on. But is there a difference like between
There's
WWE?
a there's a big difference.
Okay,
You'll probably rather your kids watch WWE than AEW because AEW is kind of like WWE used to be
okay,
in some ways because there's a lot of blood on the TV, a lot of
uh huh.
violence, things like that. But WWE they kind of keep it watered down now, so
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty much it. AEW is more for older fans, where WWE they're still kind of be for everybody.
So like the sex and violence are definitely all heightened in the
Not
AEW.
yeah, not much sex anywhere. I think
Okay.
the world kind of doesn't want to deal with that. So not much sex in either
Mm-hmm.
of them, but violence definitely more in AEW.
Got it. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to watch some more of that just to get like a or like because it's the AEW from what you're telling me, and at least from what some of my friends have said is like the AEW is like very yeah, it's a lot more action oriented versus WWE is a lot more like drama oriented.
It's a thing. So I prefer the drama. Actually, I'm a
Mm-hmm.
big story guy. I like to hear the stories in it, but the stories in
Mm-hmm.
WWE just aren't really good anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the action's not better than AEW. So if you're gonna lean for one more than the other, then yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely AEW for action.
That's kind of funny how like I can kind of see also how the correlation, would be with that, because in the Mortal Kombat community you have the gameplay guys and then you got the story guys. So you got like you got the people who, you know, kind of like, there's like me and my friend Temp, and actually a lot of other people in like some of the discords I'm a part of, is where we care about everything. And the story particularly, I choose, like, I like protagonist character. I like to play the good guys. You know, you won't find me playing Quan Chi or Shang Tsung, but you'll see me playing like, you know, Kenshi, Katana, Liu Kang, or Nightwolf, and that plays a huge part, like in their story, about who I choose, and I care a lot about the mechanics and gameplay as well. Like going into it, because I still do locals, I still play, you know, competitively and stuff like that. Like I haven't gone, like, I would never go to even a minor, but like majors or anything like that. I like to watch them though. But it's like, yeah, I kind of see the similarities there. It's like, you know, some people are really into the drama, some people are into the action, you know, so they want to see, you know, all that go down and everything.
Yeah.
But
I'm kind of the opposite, actually. I like the antagonists.
so
I like the bad guys. Like
yeah.
Dragon Ball Z, I'm with Vegeta over Goku. Mortal Kombat, I do like the fact that Sub-Zero is the bad Sub-Zero now, which a lot of people say he's not, but I think he's bad.
Oh, he's totally
So
the
I like
bad
that
Sub-Zero.
Sub-Zero more. Yeah.
Yeah, he's 100% the bad
And
guy.
it does.
Yeah. I wouldn't call Vegeta a bad guy anymore, but
Yeah, but he used to be a bad guy.
true.
'Cause I started watching like when I was young and it first came out, and he was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like the bad guy who was coming to Earth, and that's when I started liking him, and then he turned good eventually. But yeah,
I mean, if you really think about it, like all of Goku's friends were once his enemies.
yeah.
Huh? As
And he freezes his friend now, pretty much. So, right.
I mean, he
Yeah,
helped. Yeah, he helped him.
it's going the opposite way again now. Yeah.
Yeah, he helped him win the world or the tournament, but then he just like let him go. But yeah, we'll see how that goes from there and everything. Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. That's a
whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast, bro. So, but even so, before we go into the, like, you know, talk about Mortal Kombat stuff, what is your Mortal Kombat story? Like, where's the first time you saw Mortal Kombat? Like the history of like you playing it. So, how'd that start for you?
It was just always there for me. My dad was a gamer.
Okay.
He had a Super Nintendo. He had Mortal Kombat 1.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I was in the house probably like 1 or 2 years old playing Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3. We just always played. He really liked fighting games. So, Mortal
Mhm.
Kombat, Killer Instinct, Street Fighter, we had all those in the house. And that's
Mhm.
pretty much what we always played. So, it's just always been there.
Mhm. And you know, it's funny. I'm doing the same thing with my son too, but with not Mortal Kombat. I think he's a little bit too young for that, but he really likes like Third Strike. So I'm like,
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
dude, I'm starting him young. So I'm starting him with that.
That's the best way.
Dude, for sure.
I only got daughters though, so they don't care. They want princess stuff. My daughter, one of them likes a Nintendo Switch, like Splatoon, but I get them into what I'm into.
Yeah, I got a son and a daughter, and my daughter, she's playing like the Switch as well, but she's playing like the Paw Patrol game. And like Mario Kart, because Mario Kart's super easy. All you have to do now is just like hold the gas pedal, and it just goes and everything. So yeah, she's into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you started out like really young. Did you play through like the 3D era and the NRS era?
Oh yeah, I had every Mortal Kombat game except Armageddon. I was old enough to buy games at that point, but I didn't like the direction they went with that one. So that's the only game I really didn't play. But everything else, I played all of them.
Mm-hmm. And did you what would you consider out of like all those like which one probably had the biggest influence on you?
Biggest influence,
or not so much influence, I should say like the biggest impact. Like for instance, me and Breastpo talk like Deception's probably our number one game. Like Mortal Kombat Deception, it had the conquest mode. You got to learn all about these interesting characters. You fell in love with characters like Natara and Ashra and stuff. These are a lot of characters we haven't seen before. So growing up playing Mortal Kombat, what would you say is like the one game that you were just like that really had the biggest impact on you?
So growing up, I'd probably say Mortal Kombat 2 because that's the one we played the most. I mean, I remember back then we didn't even have like the fatalities and stuff. We guess them. So like I still remember Melina is the one where she inhale the guy. I think that's the best way to say it, and then spit the bones out.
Oh
I
yeah.
just remember figuring it out. Hold X down, walk up to him, back up a little bit, let it go, and she do that fatality. So that's the one I think that
Yeah, I
had the
remember that
biggest
one.
impact on me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing ever since. My favorite Mortal Kombat was Mortal Kombat 11. No, that's not popular, but I had so much
Hold
fun
on,
with
Mortal Kombat
11, and
11 was your favorite?
Mortal Kombat 11 was my
Uh,
favorite out of all of
you know, I'll respect you. I'll respect that opinion, even though it's a wrong opinion. But I'll respect. I'll respect that opinion.
I think Deception is when it finally came back. 'Cause I think it did fall off for a while.
It
So
did. It,
one,
it
two,
fell off
three
for a
was
long
good.
time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did like 4. I remember playing it in the skating ring on the arcade and stuff, Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
64. But, the Deadly Alliance, it was good. Deception is just when it actually got great and it actually, like, pulled me back in for good. That's why I was kinda upset with Armageddon, because I thought they
Yeah.
did so much good stuff with, Deception, and I see what happened with Armageddon. They wanted to put every character in there, but, you know, it was gonna be hard to be get fatalities in there for every character, for them to
Mm-hmm.
have their own unique fatalities. Some of the character designs they pulled directly from Deception, and I just felt like it was an unfinished game when it came out. Even so, I was like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a guy who votes for my wallet, so if I don't like it, I'm not going to buy it. And I skipped that
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat. But
And
again,
I think it was weird because like Midway was going under at that time, and they tried to pack way too much in one game, and I mean even so much as like
yeah,
I wouldn't even say cutting corners. It's like I knew that was like something about like it being super hard to code and animate for like Mataro had like he had
oh yeah,
2 feet, and I do kind of like how they had to they what did they do? They gave him some lore reason as to why he had 2 feet. I'm like, at least they did that.
you
But
really, yeah,
it was cheap and it was cheap and easy, but at the same time, it was kind of funny.
yeah. I
But
mean,
yeah,
growing up, I understand, but back then, I was just like, what are they doing? This is not good.
yeah.
But I mean, I believe they didn't have enough time to do what they wanted to do and stuff like that. So I get it now, but
Hmm.
back then, I was against it.
Yeah, and same thing with like the fatalities. Like it was the universal like build your
Game
fatalities.
fatality.
So yeah, it
Yeah.
was. Um, yeah, I found ways to have fun with it. I mean, I looking back in 2006 when I first got it, I was looking at it like, yeah, I was just having fun with it because I was 18 years old, and I was I was just enjoying it, and
Yeah.
so it's like I think back then it was it was a lot easier to enjoy bad games just because you're a fan.
Yeah.
I,
Right.
I think we got a little spoiled now, but
Yeah. Definitely.
I
Maybe
like
some of the.
yeah, and
uh,
I would do things like I would create a fighter, and then I would literally spend like an hour just making up the backstory at the end. You know how you
mm,
can like write in the text about their story. So when they're doing the whole the katas after you win, and it tells like what happened to them.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Even though you could do that. To
oh
this day, I
dude,
still never really. Yeah. I never really.
yeah, I just
Try to go back
found
and play the Conquest, but never finished it.
yeah, and even then it's like it was kind of a super random conquest too. I don't have anything bad to say about it other than like it's like kind of weird that Taven and Dagon are there, and they created this like it's a weird story. It's like, oh, they were born to defeat Blaze, and Blaze isn't even the bad guy, so it is very interesting. It's a very interesting
Yeah.
story, but
That goes back to kind of what you just said. You said we're spoiled these days. I think that's the problem why nobody really liked Mortal Kombat 11. Just spoiled.
mhm,
I think Mortal Kombat 11, it just had everything. Like
mhm,
going back to earlier, like you said, some people's really into the fighting, some people are more into the story.
mhm,
Think Mortal Kombat 11 really just had everything. It had the
mhm,
story. I like the fighting in Mortal Kombat 11, while a lot of people didn't. But
mhm.
then they had the all the single player modes, the story modes. You had the Towers of Time, which I did enjoy. You had the Crypt. So many things to do in the Crypt. That's
Mhm.
I think the first Mortal Kombat game I completed 100%. So I just had a good time with that one.
Yeah, for a lot of completionists, and you're not the only one. I have a few friends too who love Mortal Kombat 11, and a lot of the reasons why I don't like it. And by the way, I didn't just I don't hate it. I'll never say that I hate it. Because I mean, if you look at my Steam hours, I have like over 500 hours on that game. And then, and that's not including my PS4 hours too. So it's like, I played a lot of that game. It just took me, because I'm kind of an optimist. So it's like, it just took me a long time to finally just be like, you know what, this game isn't as fun as I thought as I want it to be. And you know, I don't play very often. Every so often I'll log in and play a few games, but it's not something I like, you know, put much effort into as much as I wanted to, you know, 4 years ago. Yeah. I play Mortal Kombat X more than I do 11.
Today?
Yeah, still. A lot of the guys on Discord, we still play X.
Yeah, I don't play any of them anymore. Like with me, with gaming, I'll play a game, you know, get everything out of it when I can, then I'll move on to the next. Because I play a lot of games, so I mean, if I picked up Mortal Kombat 11 today, I wouldn't even remember how to play it, just because I played so many things since then. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it. There's like I can, if I pick up 11 right now, I could probably play Katana and Nightwolf like pretty easily. Same thing with X. Like X, I can probably play Melina, Katana, and Takeda. But I would probably not remember how to defend against anybody else. So going online is probably not the best choice if I'm going to pick up those games. Yeah. And I wasn't a huge fan of the gear system. I know a lot of people like the gear system. So like you know, you sound like you're a completionist. You want to like pick up like 100%, like get all the titles, all the different gear pieces and stuff like that. So
yeah,
if you are one of those,
for my character at least.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I'll do it with Sub-Zero, but not like everybody else on the roster. But yeah.
Yeah. So so yeah, if you are a completionist, for sure, Mortal Kombat 11 is definitely that kind of game for you. But yeah, so moving on to Mortal Kombat 1. Since you know, in the past year, because we both, you and I, we were talking about this before we started recording, have been content creating for less than a year. So in the time that you've started content creating, and since the reveal of Mortal Kombat 1, how do you feel about the game so far? With everything you've seen in the game, how do you feel? How do you feel about it?
Well, I feel really good about it so far. Some things I like, some things I don't like. But overall, I think everything is going to be pretty good. As far as like the gameplay wise, I don't think I'm going to like the fighting more than I like Mortal Kombat 11. But either way, it's Mortal Kombat. I'm in there either way. So.
Oh, for sure. I'm sorry. So, what do you not like about it? Let's start with there.
Next thing is the cameos. So
you don't like the cameos?
Don't like the cameos.
Okay.
We got them, and I mean, I'm gonna have to learn how to use them and everything. But I would prefer it being 1 versus 1. But I mean, yeah, I'm not a big fan of the cameos.
Did you get to play during the stress test?
I did. I didn't get to play as much as I wanted to, but I did get to play.
Okay. And because if you played during the stress test, you know that cameos are literally the game. Like they make up the entire game. So yeah. And I don't know. At first I thought it was kind of hard to play. It was a little bit counterintuitive. And I think just by switching up some inputs, like for instance, I was using you'd use the right bumper button to use your cameo when I kept hitting the left. So I think if I just switch up the inputs, I would probably do a little bit better with it. But I'll admit it was not very counterintuitive. And I'm sure after a few hours in the lab, you would probably pick it up pretty easily.
What I wanted. I was hoping they had like a lab in there where you can go in training mode and actually get in there and figure everything out. But really, you only had the arcade mode or jump online. And I got a review code for AEW Fight Forever the same day it's a stress test. And that was like 3 days before the game came out. So I was like, I got to rush through this.
Yeah.
But I did. I just got online. I went live and jumped in online. Go good, but we won some matches. So
I was lucky enough
if I get like a.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're lucky enough to what?
Yeah, I said if there was a training mode in there and I could actually get in there and practice, you know, and get some moves and everything down, then I would have probably enjoyed it a lot more. But he's jumping in there, not knowing what's going on. Cameos all over the place. My
Mm-hmm.
cameo holding me down, taking me a while to get back up into the fight to rush the other person. It was just a lot going on.
Yeah, if you did like Jax's ground and pound, which is actually universal hits.
Yes, just knocking me all over the place. I'm like, what's going on? And I said, okay, well, I'll use Kano. Kano's holding my neck down. He'll hit the guy with the beam, but then it takes a while for me to get back up and get in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just take some figuring out.
Yeah, the recovery time on Kano's beam was pretty hard. The recovery frames were pretty bad with that. I think most people used Sonya during that time, but they figured some stuff out with Kano. I was lucky enough because I was playing on PC. As soon as my audience can hold me to this as well. As soon as the beta drops, I'm gonna go pick up a PS5. Or as soon as they announce the beta of like when those dates are, I'm going to go pick up a PS5. And then so at least I can, start playing the beta and everything. But yeah, I was lucky enough to go to a friend's house over the weekend of the stress test and play it. And I'll admit, like, it definitely a learning curve for sure. Like the cameo system was pretty hard. Now playing the characters was fairly easy to pick up, except for Katana. She was actually like pretty hard. Kenshi was pretty hard too, but like Sub-Zero and Liu Kang were super easy to kind of pick up. But when you throw in the monkey wrench that is the cameo fighters, you're like it just throws you through a loop. I'm like, okay, it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because the thing is, I'm playing it like I'm playing Mortal Kombat, just trying to hit combos off of Sub-Zero, and then the other guy throws his cameo out. Then I'm like, oh, we got cameo, so I'm pressing, just throwing mine out, just because he's throwing his out. And it's something I'm gonna have to get used to. I'm sure I can get used to it. I'll figure it out, but I wish we at least had an option to do 1v1 without the cameos. But I'm sure they probably think with them putting so much time into the cameos, if they gave us a 1v1 option, everybody's going to use that instead of utilizing what they have in there with the cameos. Because Ed Boon said himself, he said with the tag team stuff in Mortal Kombat 9, people didn't play it much. So if they put the cameos in there and make it optional, I don't think, a lot of people, well, a lot of people probably will play it, but I think a lot of people will go to that 1v1 as well. So, hey, spend a lot of time on it. They're going to make us use it.
Yeah, and I think that goes with a lot of different games as well. Like, for instance, I don't think a lot of people played Puzzle Combat back in the day. I don't think a lot of people played like Motor Combat like that. But it's something we look back. Chess combat. Yeah, exactly. I think it's something that not a lot of us look back on, or we look back on it like that was super fun. Why don't they bring those things back? Of course they won't. And they did bring back a lot of the mini games into like Test Your Might, Test Your Sight. They brought those back into Mortal Kombat 9, but he was right. Not a lot of people played tag, but I don't think that's necessarily a reason to not bring it back, particularly tag, because I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people want is to play with their friends. So in tag is
really cool online.
Yeah, and they had it online for Mortal Kombat 9, but that's probably where the numbers are coming in. That not a lot of people played tag.
Okay, yeah. I didn't even know. I wasn't online back then. We were just in the house, one-on-one, playing each other. So, yeah. But, I mean, that would be cool, though, today, because a lot of people play online. I'm sure a lot more now than back then. So, I mean, if they put tag in there, I'm sure it'll get used.
Yeah, we play like a couple of the boys in my Discord, dude. We play Street Fighter 6. There's like 3v3 battles.
Really?
And that's not even tag. Yeah. There's 3v3 battles. So it's like you can choose teams of 3 and use best out of two, best. Most of the time it's just best out of 1. But it's like I think there's even 5v5. I think we've done a 5v5 battle as well, and it's where it's just like you could probably set as many as you want. But yeah, it's like whoever has the most wins, like on each team, is declared the winner. We used to do we do that all the time.
Is it like one-on-one matches, or is it like when they got multiple characters on the screen in the World Tour mode?
Oh no, it's 1v1. It's matches and everything, but it's just like it'll be like me versus Temp, and then it'll be like Gab versus Randy, and then it's like that, and then the next round we would just like mix it up and everything.
Yeah.
And
then I got Street Fighter 6. I haven't even played online yet. I've been messing around with World Tour mode, but
yeah, World Tour is actually like super fun. I think it's a great addition to the game. I think it's a great way to bring in those like casual players and actually like it's like a perfected creative fighter essentially. It's Conquest and Creative Fighter at the same time.
Right. And that's why I want Conquest mode or Mortal Kombat 1.
For sure. 100%.
Yeah. I know they could do so much more today than they did back then, because Conquest mode and Deception, I liked it. And I mean, if they just do something like that and build on it, I think it could be so good in Mortal Kombat 1. And I'm still saying it is, but we'll see.
Oh, I'm calling it. I think it 100% is going to be in the game.
Yeah, he said it's going to have an expensive single-player experience, so it sounds like it.
Yeah, and the single-player experience is like 99%. I mean, I don't know the number I'm not even going to begin to guess the number. But from what they have what I've heard and projected in the past, that like the casual consumer consists of the grand majority of the players. Like if you go on Twitter, and you go on the Mortal just the FGC in general, if you were to take the FGC and compare it to the rest of the consumers, it's a small minute group of people. I mean, most people will buy Mortal Kombat because it's just, at this point, it's kind of like an American, it's iconic to the West,
Right.
You can go up to anybody and just say, hey, what game is Get Over Here from? And everybody was going to say Mortal Kombat. Yeah, exactly. Right. So for the same exact reason, if you said Hadouken, everybody's going to say Street Fighter.
Street Fighter, yep.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, and so it's like if I had to guess, I don't even know the numbers. If I had to guess, I think they're going to sell 20 million copies.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No.
I think Mortal Kombat 11 was their highest selling to date. And it seems like every time they release a game, it's just going higher and higher. So
yeah,
I definitely wouldn't be surprised.
I think X sold 11 million or 12 million, one of the two. 11 sold 15 million. So I wouldn't be surprised with 20 million.
Yeah.
Like at all.
I agree.
No. If I hear 20,
I hear that they went over that.
Dude, if I hear that they sold 20 million, I'd be like, called it. Yeah. Like that's 100%.
Look how good the trailers they dropped you. Like somebody put a post up comparing Street Fighter's numbers to Mortal Kombat's to Tekken's. Mortal Kombat just blew everybody out the window. So it's kind of like Grand Theft Auto fighting games.
Yeah. Tekken did really well, but Tekken grew steadily and it took a while to get there. And the difference between Mortal Kombat and pretty much every other fighting game is Mortal Kombat is predominantly played in the West, versus every other fighting game is like played all over the world. And Tekken has especially grown in the Middle East. So, a lot of Pakistani players, a lot of United Arab Emirates, people out of Dubai who are playing it, of course, Japan, Korea, all those other places. And, but I think one of the biggest things is like, in America and in a lot of parts of Europe is that when a Mortal Kombat game comes out, it's not just the competitive players. It's like, oh, a Mortal Kombat game is out. And so like every gamer goes out and buys Mortal Kombat.
Sister doesn't play any games, but when Mortal Kombat comes out, she plays Mortal Kombat.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, that just speaks to it. She doesn't play anything. Well, she'll play Grand Theft Auto. I mean, that goes back to the comparison, but she'll play Grand Theft Auto and Mortal Kombat. That's it. So,
yeah.
A lot of casual players will jump on just to play it.
Exactly. And that's, and I know that a lot of the Mortal Kombat community, not that this isn't like knocking on the Mortal Kombat community, but I think a lot of people make like, kind of predictions or requests based on them or seeing other Mortal Kombat fans and not really understanding what the general consumer would like out of a Mortal Kombat game. And because they only see it as like a Mortal Kombat fan, and I'm sure they'll be like, oh, why did NRS do this? Why did they make this character? Why did they not bring this character back? Or, whatever the case may be. And they look at it and they're just like, and what they don't see is that NRS is like, well, actually our numbers have predicted that the majority of the casual gamer would like to do this in the game.
I think that has a lot to do with them making the game slower. Like everybody says, the game's too slow, and they want them to speed it up. I think they want to keep it slower for the people who actually aren't hardcore fans. They can get in there and understand what's going on. Because like you turn on Marvel versus Capcom or something like that, where people are just all over the screen. I mean, that's going to be hard for you to get a hold of. But when the game is slower, it's easier for other people to play, not just the hardcore people.
Yeah, that's a big debate, not a big debate, but we talk about that a lot because, for instance, Street Fighter 6 currently, even Daigo and Mena RD, so two of the biggest pros in Street Fighter 6 have said that Street Fighter 6 is a quote like scrubby game, and they're like, you can't find out how good somebody actually is if the rounds only last as long as they did, like super short. Because they're so used to Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 was actually like a little bit quicker, I would say, than Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 5 you probably consider that a slow game, but like, on the Mortal Kombat side, like Mortal Kombat X, even though it was faster, I would still almost consider it, I don't know if I would consider it an easier game, because there was Mortal Kombat 11. I'd say they're about on par with each other, but for different reasons, because I wouldn't I have an easier time doing combos and executing punishes and counters in Mortal Kombat X than I do in Mortal Kombat 11. And that might just be because I played it a lot more. Maybe it's just because I like it a lot more. Who knows? But I felt that I enjoyed and I felt Mortal Kombat X was a bit easier, but I also think it's because when you throw so many, when you throw too many options at people, it's kind of overwhelming, and that's kind of what scares me about. That's kind of what scares me on Mortal Kombat 1. Because
that cameo is a big option to throw at people.
It is. It is. And then in Mortal Kombat, as funny as I was watching Max, dude, he was going over movement, and movement is probably the biggest thing when it goes into any fighting game, is how good is the movement. And Mortal Kombat 9 is arguably the fastest Mortal Kombat in the NRS era.
Oh yeah. And
the reason why is because of dash block. So you can dash in a block, dash cancel block, dash cancel block, and make it super, super fast. With Mortal Kombat X, there was run. And of course, like the combos were super fast. And with the not cameo fighters, I'm sorry, with Mortal Kombat 1, this is just how I kind of perceived it, was that it felt a lot like Mortal Kombat 9. And then when you started comboing, it felt like Mortal Kombat X. So it almost felt like when you were in neutral footsies moving around, it actually felt like slightly slower. And then as soon as you started comboing, it was almost like a completely different game.
Yeah, so I got excited when they first revealed it, because I thought it looked like Mortal Kombat 11, and I wanted to play it like Mortal Kombat 11. I know a lot of people might not want to hear that, but when I got in there and played it, it did feel completely different. The first thing I noticed, jumping with Sub-Zero, it felt like he was like floating back to the ground. So I was like, okay, so this is different. But just figuring out all the combos and stuff, it really does have a different feel. But again, not something I can't get used to. So, I mean, I take all these games as they are, because I know 9's not going to be the same as 10, 10's not going to be the same as 11. They've shown us they're going to change the gameplay every time. So I'm pretty much going there, starting off fresh. Like, okay, what are we getting this time? Jump in there and see how it feels, and just really getting used to it. So really, it is what it is. That's why when I play the game, I'm not going to complain about it, because I knew it was going to be different than 11. It's just going to be a matter of, do you like it, and you want to keep playing it, or making a decision to not play it. But I mean, either way, even if I didn't like the gameplay, I love Mortal Kombat for the story and the characters as well, so I play it either way. And the single player modes, that's why I really want the conquest in there, because even if I get in there and I just can't deal with the cameos, don't want to play online because it's getting messy, because I'm sure it's going to be a bit of a mess at first. And as long as I can get a full single player experience out of it, I'll still feel like I got what I need from Mortal Kombat. So
that's very true.
I mean, the game,
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Street Fighter 6 right now, and that's a 1v1 game. And it's like the game has been out for just, a month and a half, and we're still figuring things out. So
Yeah, my thing with Street Fighter 6 though is the modern controls. So that's what kind of keeps me away
mhm,
from online because I'm
yeah.
like, oh, this just makes it too easy. And I'm
Mhm.
playing with the classic controls. I'd rather play with the old school controls. But if I'm getting there online with somebody who's playing modern controls, just pushing one button, doing whatever they want to do. I
Yeah,
just don't think.
I don't find modern controls as often as I thought I would. I mean, a lot of people talked about it, but
Oh, okay.
I see modern controls on specific characters. So I'll see modern controls on like a lot of Lilies and a lot of Lukes, but that's
Mhm.
pretty much it. It's like
Do they give you the option to play like classic controls only or modern controls only, or do you
I
got
don't
to
think
get in there and
so.
play with whoever? No. See.
I don't think so. I think you can only choose like if you want to only play against people who are in your region or play against people who are on your same platform, like PC versus PC only, PS5 versus PS5 only.
Yeah.
I think those are the only options that they actually give you. I could be wrong. Someone comment down below. Let me know if I'm wrong. Um, but yeah, so I mean, yeah, you play a lot for the characters in the story, and a lot. I mean, a lot. I would almost say the majority of people do. I mean, if you go on the
Mhm.
FGC, go on Twitter or anything like that, everybody's talking about the story. Everybody's talking about
Yeah. Yeah.
different characters. In fact, a lot of my content, even though I would consider myself more of a gameplay guy, and
Mhm.
more of a competitive player, I still care deeply about the story.
Yeah.
So how do you feel so far about the direction they're going with all the different changes? Bihan is back to being Sub-Zero again, and by the way, he's not going to die. I'm telling the audience right now, people think that, oh, like, when is Bihan going to die, become noob? Oh, it's like, by the way, Kuai Liang has already been confirmed as Scorpion, so yes, they are the actual
Yeah.
brothers. Bihan is Sub-Zero, and yeah, he is kind of the same cold-blooded killer that he's been in past games. He's probably not going to die, and I hope that he doesn't. But
I don't know. See a lot of people saying that
uh,
everything is pretty much destined to go that the way it went before.
mhm.
But I don't know. I hope he doesn't die.
I don't want him
Somebody's
to.
going to die.
Yeah,
Somebody's going to die. And him, Kuali Yang, and Smoke, I don't think they're all making it out of here.
yeah. I don't know. I kind of like. We'll see, because I want death to actually mean something this time around. Because if you've been a
Yes.
if you've been a
Yes.
Mortal
Yes.
Kombat fan long enough, you know that death just doesn't mean anything.
Hmm.
They can always come back. Jack, Scorpion, and Sub-Zero came back to life in Mortal Kombat X. They can always find a way to bring
Bring
it
him back
around.
with grave skin, gray or blue skin.
Yeah, they can make
I
revenants.
like it.
Yeah, and I just hope that it means something. So if someone's gonna die and gone, it's like I hope they're actually like gone. You know,
Yeah.
but uh, I'm sorry, that's like soapbox there for a minute. But going forward, how do you feel about the story compared to how it's been in the past? Going forward, do you feel like good about the direction that they're going?
So, I mean, I thought the first timeline, I really loved the first timeline when we got to Armageddon and then they
Mm-hmm.
started it over. But it was the first refresh, so it was cool. Didn't mind it
Mm-hmm.
at all. I think they messed up with that Sindel scene when they pretty much killed everybody. Because now we got to get back to a point where we're starting over again because these characters are dead. We've got so many dead characters in the world. So I don't mind them restarting it again. I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
this is the way we need to get everybody back and not revenants. And I like starting it off fresh. I mean, Mortal
Mm-hmm.
Kombat 12 at this point, so you got a lot of lore, a lot of old stuff, and they're deciding to just start over brand new and fresh. I don't mind it at all. As
Mm-hmm.
long as, in 3 or 4 games, we're not resetting again and doing the same thing
Yeah.
again, and I don't mind it. And just being reintroduced to these characters in a different way. I mean, we got Bihan back. I mean, we haven't seen him since Mortal Kombat 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, besides Noob Saibot, of course, but I think it's
Yeah.
refreshing. The story is a lot refreshing, so I like it. I don't mind it
Yeah.
at all.
And it's kind of funny how everybody's talking about like, oh, Bihan was my favorite Sub-Zero. I'm like, he's literally been Sub-Zero in one game. Like
Right.
if you really think about it, Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 9, which is Mortal Kombat 9 is just a retelling of 1, 2, and 3. But
Yeah.
yeah, but I
A
agree.
lot of people probably didn't even play Mortal Kombat 1.
No,
I weren't even old enough, so
no, and they probably didn't really care too much about the story, because back then it's like the story was kind of
right.
irrelevant.
Yeah.
I mean, it was there if you wanted it to be.
Right. I didn't even notice the story until Deception, to be honest with you. I
Mm-hmm.
was just playing the game. And
Mm-hmm.
I had to go back, when I got old enough to realize what's going on or whatever. And that's another thing with Mortal Kombat, though, because really, before they started doing these like the movie story modes, you really didn't know what was going on to the
Mm-hmm.
game until the next one. Because you
Right.
get to the end of a character's like arcade ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Now Sub-Zero killed Scorpion and Quan Chi and everybody. And
Mm-hmm.
then the next game, you don't know if that's canon or not. You got to figure out what's canon in the next game. So that's really why I wasn't like too tied into the story because
Mm-hmm.
you know what? We'll figure what happened out next time. So,
Yeah, and
but now I do like the long story things, but we know.
yeah, and I really hope that that's why I really want a conquest mode, because one thing I miss about Deception was the fact that you kind of intermingled with the different characters, and you actually had, even though you're Shujinko and even though it was a singular storyline, you still felt like you were impacting the story. You weren't just
Yeah.
watching the story. Even guys like my friend Temp, who's been on the show numerous times, he doesn't play he doesn't play the story mode. He watches it on YouTube, and
Mhm.
he's like, I don't care, I don't care to play, because he's a gameplay guy as well. He cares deeply about the story, but he only cares, he'll only play it if like he can interact with it. And for the past couple, pretty much since Mortal Kombat 9, there is no interaction.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like going back to like Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, and 4. It was just ladder endings, and it wasn't until Deadly Alliance where at least it was text based, and I was actually playing through Deadly Alliance, and even then, like, it was more story than we've ever gotten before.
Yeah.
You know.
It's the opening intro, even.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was enough for me compared to what we got before when they killed Liu Kang and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I knew what happened until I actually got the game and put it in.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
Yeah, and I
I
think
remember that story just impacted me.
we care a lot more now as we're like older, because back then when I was in third, fourth grade, when I first discovered Mortal Kombat, it's like you don't really think about the story, you don't really care
Yeah.
and stuff. Now it's like a super big part about it, and yeah, but yeah, going forward, I'm a huge proponent of new. So I like when something is new. So when I first saw Cameo Fighters, I was like, this is awesome. That's just me, because I like that. So I really hope that there is a conquest mode going forward, and I am a huge fan of the different directions that they're taking. Not just because it's interesting, because it's like we've had so many retcons, and yes, Sindel is a retcon. I don't care what people say. Sindel was a retcon in Mortal Kombat 11. It's like from here we can actually set in stone what is the story. This is the beginning of the story. And for people such as yourself who really care about the story, who really care about the different characters and stuff, it's like going forward, now we know. Now we have something to fall back on, and now we know exactly where it started and where it's going to go.
Yeah. So it's fresh. These are your characters. This is where they start, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll figure out where we're going after that. Now, I don't know how mixed up things will get, or because everyone said the ending's going to be crazy. So I don't know what
He
that means
did.
for the
I
next
didn't
Mortal
hear him say
Kombat.
that.
Yeah, he was in the interview. I don't remember where he was talking, but he said the ending's just going to be crazy. So it's
Mm-hmm.
going to have a crazy ending. I don't know what's going to happen, but
Mm-hmm.
hopefully it just doesn't erase or wipe out everything or make it where we can't continue from where the story leaves off here. So
Gosh, I hope not. Because freaking, if you're gonna
yeah,
like, if game one of this new era ends crazy,
where
I
do
could
we
see,
go from there?
yeah, where do we go from there? And he did say, he did openly say, because he was in a short interview, and he said that they asked him, why did you decide to start over? And he basically was like, he essentially, I mean, not in his words, but essentially said, they power creeped all the way to the top. I mean, you got to fight a Titan. You can't really go anywhere else from there. So it's like, they kind of felt like they had to start over, I guess, because it's like now you got to start at the bottom again. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like, imagine if OG 1984 Dragon Ball and little Goku fought, yeah, it just.
Yeah. Where do you go from there?
Yeah, where do you go from there? Exactly. So that's why they decide to start over, and I'm all for it. I think it's great. I think it's great.
Fine to start over, refresh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even with I think that's one of the most interesting things about Mortal Kombat 1 is just different characters. Like you got Liu Kang, pretty much in the position Raiden was in. Raiden's just a guy on Earth now.
Mm-hmm.
So just looking at all of those stuff and being reintroduced to those characters is what I'm really interested into most. A lot of people probably want to get in there and get the fighting going, but I really want to get in there and get into the story to figure out who these characters are, where we're going with it. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Whether I know how to play or not, we're just going to get in there.
I mean, story has always been kind of there to help you, like, kind of learn or force you. Yeah. I mean, the chapter system, it didn't really force you to learn or have some kind of like fun way to teach you, which is kind of something I hope that they do now, to where they have like a fun way to actually like force you how to learn how to play.
Yeah.
Kind of in the way that they did in the conquest modes in both Deadly Alliance and Deception.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the same. I'm wondering, like, for instance, in the Ungadi trailer, Li Mei says that I might need your aid now, and he's like, I'm the protector of Earthrealm. I'm no, I'm used to. I forgot how he said it. I'm no stranger to combat. Thank you. I'm no stranger to combat, and I was like, why does Liu Kang, the god of thunder and lightning, and why the creator of this new era, having to fight with one-on-one hand-to-hand combat? Like, did he put himself into, did he put himself in this lower position? You know what I mean?
I was thinking the same thing. Because if he's supposed to be like the god and the ruler of this new universe or whatever, it's like Baraka said. He said if there was a cure, Liu Kang would have found it. Like,
yes, that was the other thing. Is like, did he get all philosophical on us all of a sudden, and say and do that? Same thing with why does Shang Tsung exist? If
you created this universe,
you create this universe. I kind of joked about it. I was like, of all the people who are in the game, the one person who is exactly the same as she was before was Katana. And by the way, I know it's Katana because a bunch of people in a comment section in my Melina short pointed out that I pronounce it Kitana. And they made fun of me.
That doesn't matter.
I know. I'm just saying. I know how to say katana, so I'm going to say katana. If you go into my comment section, all of them are just like, "Dude, did you just say Kitana?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry," but that's how I had a hard time pronouncing. But anyway, katana. I joked around saying like katana is the one person that Liu Kang would keep exactly the same because it's the person he loved in the previous era. But Shang Tsung exists. Not only does he exist, he is still evil. He's still a sorcerer. He's back to doing what he does. So I'm like, why does he allow him to exist? And that's when I've kind of was like, maybe there are just some things that Liu Kang cannot control.
Yeah.
Maybe there's just some. Yeah.
It's definitely something going on there because in the first trailer, Shang Tsung came out of a portal. So I don't know if it's maybe another universe and they're kind of colliding or whatever, and that's where the bad guys are coming from. But I mean, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. But it's something there because why would you bring? Did he tell him in Mortal Kombat 11 he wasn't bringing him back? He said he won't exist in this new universe. But now he's there, so it's definitely something.
Yeah, I think he was just coming from somewhere else. I'm saying that because I really don't like time travel. I really hope that they don't do time travel again. So I'm kind of hoping that they don't. Ed Boon did say in one interview that Liu Kang is literally the only person who is aware of a previous timeline, and no one else knows. So
didn't he say it's one more person?
No, he said that Liu Kang is the only one.
Oh, I thought he said Liu Kang and one other person.
He
might have said just Liu Kang.
I'm pretty sure you just said Liu Kang, but I can imagine someone finding out which would probably raise, some like distrust for Liu Kang in the future. I mean, I can imagine something like that. Like like imagine all of his friends found out. He was like, "You let us all die." He's like, "No, you all, you lived in my new era," kind of thing.
There you are, yeah.
Yeah. Right. So I can imagine something like that, kind of like in Mortal Kombat 11 when they let Sonya die, and then past Sonya comes back and she gets mad at everybody because they all let her die.
Yeah, I didn't like that in the story though. When it had the past, and it's like Devora killed past or present Scorpion. She killed. I think it was
present
Scorpion, right? Present. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, it was a mess.
He died in his
Mortal Kombat 11.
He died in his past arms.
Story was probably that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And
I think the story in Mortal Kombat 11 was kind of the weakest point of it, but everything else I love. But yeah,
I felt it had its strengths. The only now, because a lot of people, I know I've heard a lot of people knock on Dominic Chinchilla, who's the writer, and Sean Kittleson. Dominic Chinchilla, I think, was solely in charge or wrote Aftermath, and I think Sean Kittleson and Dominic wrote the Mortal Kombat 11, the main storyline. And I don't want to knock on them too much because they actually wrote really good scenes. I just don't felt like the story as a whole was very good. So for instance, the Scorpion's death was a very touching scene. I felt my favorite scene of all time in any Mortal Kombat franchise was actually Liu Kang's ending. When he comes to Kung Lao and says, like, you need to prepare, you need to train. And he's like, for what?
Yeah.
And he kind of gives him a little smirk. And I was like, hell yeah. We're going into
went completely away from that.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of hope that they don't, or that they stay with that course, that Kung Lao is the quote chosen one.
Yeah. But everybody's saying maybe Raiden's the great Kung Lao in this one, which I don't see that happening. But it said Raiden was Liu Kang's champion, right? He was the champion of Earthrealm.
Okay, so
I think Raiden's bio said that.
We have talked about that. Brusk and True Underdog, both of us have talked about that in a previous recording. And basically is that I felt the same thing. I felt that I'm like, wait, isn't Kung Lao supposed to be the champion? And in his bio, it says a champion of Earthrealm.
Oh, okay.
Not the champion.
Okay. So I think I read it as the champion.
Mm-hmm. So, or maybe it just says champion of Earthrealm, as if he's like a chosen warrior of Earthrealm, not the chosen one or the champion. And I don't think we are going to see like the great Kung Lao. I don't think he's gonna exist in this new era going forward, because it's a brand new story. I think a lot of and I see it all the time in my comment section too, is that a lot of people are having this mentality of old timeline, and they're kind of forgetting that this is a brand new timeline with a brand new story, brand new direction, and some of the characters, for better or for worse, may not exist. Like Hanzo may not exist.
Yeah, that's scary. That's what it's looking like. Unless he's up there with the bosses or whatever. I don't know. I don't know where he is.
Yeah.
If he's not Smoke, I don't know where he is.
I think it's Tomas Verbata is Smoke.
Think so?
I saw the pictures of his maskless, and he looks European. Yeah, okay. He doesn't look Asian at all. And some people are like thinking that, Takeda is Hanzo. And I'm like, no, it's Takeda. That's his name, Takeda. In fact, it says Takeda Takahashi. That's
yep.
I'm like, how can he be Hanzo? He's Takeda, But I think Hanzo is going to be in the game. I just think he's probably going to be like someone or somewhere else.
Yeah, he's got to be in there somewhere. I just don't see them not mention him at all, unless they come out at the beginning and say Hanzo's living in peace with his family or something, which I don't see that happening in Mortal Kombat, but it's definitely got to be in there somewhere.
I'm looking forward to it. Like I'm really looking forward to where they're, with the directions that they're heading with that. And I really hope that they do bring in Hanzo in some way or another, But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
What do you think about them kind of making the story more grounded and like giving a reason for everything? Like Reign's a mage, not a god or whatever. That's what he got his powers.
Oh,
Melina has a disease, Tarkatan's a disease. It's like it seems like they're
mhm,
kind of making sense out of everything. Like I'm sure when we see Reptile, there's going to be a reason for him being a reptile. Like
mhm.
Melina's not a clone anymore. She's a twin sister with a disease, just different things like that.
Personally, and I don't even care. I like it a lot.
I do too.
Uh, so, for instance, Smoke was one of my favorite characters, and I never liked the Enenra story. I never liked the background that he is a demon with amnesia, like he is the embodiment of a demon with amnesia, or he is hosting a demon with amnesia in his body, or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I never liked that idea, and the reason why is
Yeah.
because it's you can't really conflate Mortal Kombat demons with like Western Anglo-Christian demons, because it's just completely different story, kind of different like ways of going like about it. But um but to me, demon something that is a demon is evil, and so it's like,
Yeah. Right.
and Smoke is a good, even though he is an assassin, I know that, but he's supposed to be a good person, so much so that Cyber
Mm-hmm.
Smoke was he was freaking out when he was in the Nether Realm, because he felt like his soul wasn't supposed to be there. So it's like,
Yeah.
I didn't like that. And now that, he, his family died during an unfortunate hunting accident, and the Lin Kuei's essentially, the Lin Kuei felt so bad that they took him in. And the fact that the Lin Kuei is no longer like an assassin clan, that it's a protector, it's a clan that hosts and trains warriors to protect Earthrealm. Like, I love that idea. I think that's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Yep, I love
Yeah.
it too. I think it makes a lot more sense, and
Mm-hmm.
it feels new. Opposed
Mm-hmm.
to, like you said, the stuff where he's consumed with the demon now. He's just a guy who learned some magic. Now he can use all the smoke stuff, and he has a smoke mask going to protect himself from it. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought that made a lot more sense from his design, and
I didn't even think about that. He's wearing a smoke mask because he utilizes smoke, and he needs to be able to breathe in it.
that's the way I look at it. So yeah, I
I
think so.
didn't
If
even
he's
think
using
about
magic,
that.
then
Yeah. Thank you for
so
that.
I
I
think
didn't
it
even
makes a
think
lot of
about that.
sense.
That's freaking dope. But dude, that's so sick now that you think about it.
Yeah.
Do you think, by the way, because this is kind of up for debate, practical magic, because that's what it says in Smoke's bio. Do you think practical magic is actual magic that he's had to learn because he does not have the supernatural capabilities of manipulating smoke, or is practical magic as in like he uses smoke bombs and illusions?
Hmm. That's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe he is using like smoke bombs and illusions, because we see him put the bomb in is that Raiden
Kenshi.
or yeah, Casey's mouth in the fatality. So I guess that's what that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I saw the smoke bombs, and like when he tosses someone in the air, he actually takes a smoke bomb and throws it up.
Oh, see, that's what it is. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Okay. I
So,
mean, see, I didn't even notice that.
and then his karambit, the knife that he uses,
Yeah.
he uses that a lot, which I thought was so freaking dope that he's using a karambit. Um, but yeah, it's
Smoke like
like
your main.
he was my main in Mortal Kombat 9. Or he was in my rotation. Mortal Kombat 9, I mained Melina. I've always liked mobile agility characters, rushdown characters. So like, for instance, like I main Cammy in Street Fighter 6. I really like Rashid, who just came out. Mortal Kombat 11 was complete just because the game was so different. I played Katana, Cassie, and Nightwolf. Those were the three that I played the most. Mortal Kombat X was Katana, Melina, and Takeda. But Takeda was a little bit different just because he was like a mid-range character. He wasn't even like a rushdown character.
Yeah.
But in this game, I'm looking at Smoke and possibly Lee May.
Lee May looks good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do you feel about the character designs thus far?
So the character designs is well, I did love Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I loved all of them when we first saw them in that first trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Raiden and Kung Lao, I think they're kind of bland.
Okay.
This is my opinion, but I think Scorpion and Sub-Zero, a lot of people were saying their outfits were too simple. I didn't like them not having the hood on at first, but now I think their design, I love their design. Scorpion and Sub-Zero's. Lena's great. Katana's great. Who else did we see? I don't like Johnny Cage.
A lot of people feel
great.
Johnny Cage is really bland because the two outfits that he has, one is like his shirt and slacks, which is very bland, and then the other is like a workout outfit.
Yeah, his face looks funny too. Like in that, when he's sticking the middle finger up in that shot, I don't know what it is. Something looked funny about his face to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got the Jean-Claude skin, so
yeah,
I'm not a huge Johnny Cage player, but
yeah.
But I like everybody's design. The big one that's a mess right now is Tanya's. Now, I don't love her design, but the first time I saw it and like the faces they were making, I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
But I mean, looking at it now, just looking at the still shots. I mean, even her bio, I don't think looks good. The bio shot on the website, but I mean, it's not terrible. It's just a design that they chose to go with. Now, I wanted something else. I think that's kind of what I'm comparing it to. But, I mean, if this is what they went with, it's what they went with. That was their vision for the character, whatever. But I don't love it.
Yeah, I don't like getting caught in the controversy of it all because I know a lot of people hated it, and I don't even play Tanya, and to be honest, her gameplay didn't look that great to me. So I'm not gonna. I don't even want to comment on the way she looks. I'm just not gonna play her, so I don't care.
Yeah, you know, gotta be careful with the comments.
Yeah,
trust me, they got on me. They got on me about it. But I mean, listening to everybody else's opinions, and you know, just going back to look at it, I'm like, all right, I see what y'all are looking at. If this is what they're going with their game, because NetherRealm has never been good designing women in general, but I mean, also I say black characters in general. Jax was good. I think the best they've done was Jax in Mortal Kombat 11, but it's just certain design, and it's just not NetherRealm Studios. Certain things they do in these games for black characters, like black men always got to have the guns, things like that. But that's another conversation for another day. So, but I think Tanya's probably the least interesting design so far that we've seen. I don't like Lee May being an older character, where she looks older, where she kind of. She looks different than she did before. And
I think we all
Deadly Alliance, right?
Yeah, I think we all expected her because in her bio card in Mortal Kombat Armageddon, Ed Boon this is back in 2006, and he probably recorded this back in like 2005, and he literally said that we gave her a skimpy outfit because she does all the flips and she's like a wuxia based character, and he's like, she's supposed to be the quote bombshell, you know, the badass bombshell character. And so when Lee May first came out, I was stoked. She looked great. Her moveset looked great. I do like her design. And I like her outfit, but I'll admit it was weird seeing like 30-year-old, 35, 40-year-old Lee May than the hot 22-year-old Lee May that we all knew, you know. It was just very, and honestly, I think that's probably, I wouldn't even argue it. I think that's a lot of the reason why a lot of people did not like the Tanya design.
Yeah.
Because they expect MKX, Tanya, kind of that Egyptian priestess looking. I mean, technically she is a priestess, but kind of that Egyptian look, or even some, like if you go back to Deception and Armageddon, I think a lot of people liked, you know, that look to her. I would prefer the Deception look, to be honest, but I've seen people literally fix her entire design just by giving her like long straight hair.
Yeah. So what I don't think the hair was the big issue for me
Okay.
because it's kind of like a unique hair design that I really never seen anywhere else before. So I actually liked it, but I just think where they're going with this. Before that came out and I did my prediction video, I said I wanted Tanya to look completely different, but sometimes you get what you ask for, right? So,
Not that different.
but I think they're kind of going with more attractive looks for the male characters, trying to stay away from attractiveness for the female characters. Katana and Melina, I think, look great, but I think everybody else they're trying to make kind of look just basic average. I mean, you see that with Lee May, we see that with Tanya. Did we see any other female characters yet?
Katana, Melina, Tanya, Lee May. Other than cameo characters,
Sonya, but that was kind of like her.
I was gonna say other than cameo characters, I think that's all we've seen.
Yeah,
they've all NetherRealm Studios has always, or not, yeah, NetherRealm Studios has always kind of had disproportionate ratios between male and female characters. Not just in design, they've always they would always have like, you know, in a base roster of 25, only you know, they like 10 of them would be female and 15 would be.
It might be a lot. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When, because I'll be honest, I would rather them make all the characters more attractive, and
yeah. I don't think it's wrong to say that at all.
I don't think it's wrong to say that at all. And Temp did a really good job at explaining it, which is that the moment that you make a fantasy world like Mortal Kombat, in the moment that you take characters and make them more like real world characters, like the world that we live in today, like you take your characters and make them look like real world people, it takes the fantasy element out of it, you know. And it's like, I don't want to look at my Starbucks barista when I'm playing Lee May. I would rather look at, you know, super hot Lee
characters
May.
they used to make.
Exactly.
I mean, even if they don't have them like half or 75% naked, I mean, you know, they can still be pretty in the face and be fully clothed. That's fine. But it's like they made the world beautiful. According to all the women on Twitter, they made the men beautiful and the women just okay. I think the women should be the most beautiful part of the game because, I mean, that's how it is in real life.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, it's like, it's the reason why like supermodels are supermodels and actresses are actresses, and it's the reason why they you know, they do that, because I mean, I don't look at Hollywood as like the real world. I look at it as like this fantasy world that you kind of you know, look at as like not real, you know. And same thing with like, so when it comes to Mortal Kombat, I was like, so and it doesn't even have to necessarily be like you said, it doesn't have to necessarily be like a skimpy outfit. It's more so just like a fantasy outfit. You know what I mean? And I honestly think that Tanya, her deception outfit is a great example of that, because it's kind of like this leotard with like a half skirt, but it's like only an Edenian would wear that.
Yeah.
So, you know,
right.
But I will say this though, that her outfit is so far, Tanya, out of all the characters, Tanya's outfit is probably the most fantasy-esque outfit. I will say that.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah.
And Lee May's is probably the least, I would say. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to some more female, as they show a lot more female characters. You know, seeing how they look. Like, assuming Natara, assuming Natara's in the game, I'm like, please make a Romanian vampire with like a leather biker jacket. Like, that would look dope, you know?
Right. Yeah, I agree. At least make one of them, you know, and look like they used to look.
And they kind of did in Mortal Kombat 11 with Sindel. I will say that was probably the.
Oh yeah, Sindel.
Sindel's outfit or Sindel's design was probably, in my opinion, the best design in the entire game. I personally liked Scorpion and Sub-Zero. I know a lot of people thought they were overly designed.
I like Sub-Zero's in 11.
I kind of,
you know what? It grew on me.
A lot of people didn't like the hat at first. I like the hat just because
that's what it was for me.
Oh, it was the hat. I really liked Scorpion's hood, and I'll admit, I kind of wish that they did have the hood on the characters. Rain, I think, is one of the best male designs thus far. And I think it's dope because he looks like an effing water wizard. You know, like that looks sick to me. And
I love the staff. A lot of people were kind of getting on
I
it,
love
but
the
I
staff.
like it.
Dude, it's freaking sick.
I was just pulling the water off the top of the thing and doing all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff with it.
And my friend Cyborg pointed out that there's frogs on it.
Somebody said that. I didn't see it.
If you look really close, it's like here's the staff, right? And then there's the water, and like on the top of the staff right here is like frogs.
I gotta look back at it. I saw people saying that. I thought they were joking.
No, it's sick, dude. It's like they did all these intricate like designs, but no, Rain looks dope. He was probably the coolest looking character so far. The Scorpion, Smoke, and Sub-Zero I really like because not so much that they're simple, it's because they're uniform.
That's what I was just about to say. Yeah. They're kind of like a team in their uniform. They all look the same, so I like that too.
Yeah, the different colors to kind of like give them their identity. You know, I guess you could say.
Even though Kuai Liang's Scorpion, I mean, that's kind of strange, but
we'll see how
we'll see how it goes. I'm definitely open into seeing how it goes. To see, because it's got to go somewhere. We got to get some type of explanation. It's interesting.
And you know, what's funny is what we're talking about it. You know, if Hanzo Hasashi was Scorpion, it would just be another game with the Scorpion again. You know, especially if it would be Scorpion, which I'm sure there's probably going to be a conflict between brothers. I'm assuming that's the direction we're going, but if it was, you know, like I said, if it was Hondo again, it'd just be Hanzo, Scorpion, the Shirai Ryu versus the Lin Kuei and everything like that. But no, when they said Kuai Liang, like they officially said that Kuai Liang is Scorpion, I literally was just like, tell me more. I want to know everything.
I think that's one thing that just really shakes everything up. Not Liu Kang and Raiden taking places. I think it's that because that's crazy.
Yeah. And that was the other thing about the story. I like the direction that they're going because it seems that now it's not just Liu Kang and Raiden or Liu Kang is like the main character. Now we're in a place where seems like there's 6 or 7 main characters now.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of what made Deception such a special game. Yeah, the Conquest mode, to be honest, it wasn't that back then. It was like the funnest game I've ever played. Right
back then,
you revisit it and you play it and you're like, you know, you like it because of nostalgia reasons. But the thing that made it so special was that there was Shijinko, who was the main character, but you had all of these different characters and you were like intermingling and impacting their lives and their stories and stuff like that. So that's why I really like the direction that they're going with this game.
That's my favorite part about the Conquest mode. That's why I want the Conquest specifically, not just any other type of like open world thing. I want to be able to interact with the other Mortal Kombat characters, even if they're not in this game. Just at least throw them in there with a few lines of dialogue where we can talk to them and see them like, oh, that's this character. You know, I think it's just interesting to be able to do that. And just these days, how games are right now, I know Conquest mode be crazy, just amazing.
Oh yeah, for sure, and especially because we haven't really had anything like that in the past 2011 in the last 12 or 13 years. We haven't had anything like that, so it'd be really fun. So so speaking of which, this was great, by the way, because everybody I've talked to so far, all the other content creators that I've had on the show, we've all talked about mainly mechanics and gameplay, and a lot of lore as well. But you're like, specifically, I want to know about just the lore. I want to know about the story. Where is it going? You know, so I asked you this question before we started. All right. And I said, answer it at the very end, which is the make or break. So for you personally, because I'm really interested to hear what you have to say about this. What is the thing that's going to make the game for you to make you never want to put this game down? Or what's the break that's going to be like, I don't want to play anymore?
Oh, for me, it's the most important thing is really the story, the single player stuff, because that's just what I like most. So no matter what I get from that, you know, I'm sure I'll enjoy the game. But what's going to be make or break? Cameos. Even the single player stuff is going to come back to the in-game fighting. So if I gotta, let's say, earn these different costumes or whatever for Sub-Zero, and I got to win 100 matches or whatever, or go through Towers of Time, whatever they're going to call it this time, or however they're going to do it. And I got to keep playing those games, and I got to. If I don't like the cameo system and the fighting style, then I'm gonna get in there, complete the story stuff, and never play again. But if the cameo stuff actually turns out to be good, I can figure it out and I actually like it, then being that I'm doing content and stuff online, I like to be able to play matches with like subscribers and stuff like that. So if I can figure it out and I can get good at it, then that's going to keep me in this game for a long time. But if there's no one-on-one option and I just don't like the way the cameos play, then that's really just going to be it for me.
Yeah, you're not the first person. You're definitely not alone in that. There's a lot of people who'd rather be one-on-one. But I'll be honest, like give a few hours in the lab.
I'm gonna give it a few months in the lab.
Yeah, give it a while in the lab. You'll get used to it eventually, and especially with more cameo characters, because we've only scratched the surface. We've only seen 3.
Yeah,
I mean, I would say we've only played 3. We've seen way more than that, and there's going to be a lot of so if you are more of like a one-on-one player, there might be cameo characters that will have defensive options to where they don't extend your combos. They provide a shield, they grant you a shield, they there might be characters that hold it, that they've already shown the Sub-Zero cameo who has a freeze, but it's a lot like Mortal Kombat 11 Frost's freeze. So it's like the one where she only freezes those like around her, and that's how the Sub-Zero freeze is. So those kind of cameos, I think, for someone like yourself that does like who prefers the one-on-one, the one-on-one kind of thing, though, those are the kind of cameos that you like. And so like cameos I don't think you would like is like Cyrax, where you hold a character there because he's a self-placed bomb that you have to actually like, you have to time it right. And then, you have to think a lot, about the character, and a lot of people, myself included, if a character is so complex, I don't want to play that. I'd rather, like for instance, in Guilty Gear, my main is Kai, who is literally the easiest. He's literally rated the easiest character in the game. And I would rather play him than say Axel, who is like one of the most intricate and hardest characters to play in the game.
Yeah. And I was just going to say that when you said we just scratched the surface, that's true. I only had a few cameos to use. And it's just like with every one of them that I was using, I was finding the issue was like Jax knocking me down with the opponent. I'm trying to get him in there to shoot a laser and then rushing to do a combo, but he's holding my neck down and it takes me a minute to get back up. So if I can find one that's kind of just like out of the way, like call him in there, he does what he needs to do and gets out, then that'll be fine. Not knocking me down or holding me out of the way, or just a defensive character. I think that'll want kind of be good too.
Yeah, like someone who could just like Sub-Zero's freeze, like I said, someone who could provide a shield, something like that. Like defensive options are a must, and I think we haven't seen those yet. Yeah. So
Scorpions look good too, where you can pull the opponent to you.
Yeah, dude, that's freaking sick.
Things like that. It's like things like that are cool. So I'm sure I'll find something in there.
I'm hoping he can pull you out of a corner. Like I was wondering if like you can do something to where he can actually be behind your opponent and he can pull you out of the corner,
Yeah, that'll actually be good.
Right? Yeah.
Got caught in the corner a few times when I was online. Those Kenshi players, man.
Dude, Kenshi pulls his sword out and he summons the ancestral spirit. It's like it's so oppressive.
Got to worry about Kenshi right here. He's got a little demon thing on the other side, and cameos are coming out. I'm just thinking,
dude,
but I'm sure I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I'm open to it. So.
No, dude, if you played Mortal Kombat 11, you'll be fine. I think you'll be fine. Yeah.
And then, like a lot of people say, they did have those type of things in the Towers of Time, where the characters were running in and out of the screen, and I played a lot of that. Just grinding, getting like different points and stuff to unlock Sub-Zero's costumes. Like they had one of them where it was like I think it was like a scorpion. Like you hit him and his health barely goes down, and you had like a different team to go in there and beat him. I don't know if did you play the Towers of Time a lot? He had a lot of different challenges in there. That's something I had a lot of fun with.
I only played the Towers of Time for like I think Katana and Rain. Those are the only two characters because I only wanted specific gear pieces out of them.
Yeah.
But that's literally. But I didn't spend much time in there at all.
Yeah. Okay.
So
That's a lot of. I spent a lot of
mhm.
time in there as well, just to do. That's another thing I want. Just stuff to do single player. Like I know a lot of people don't like the grinding, but
Mm-hmm.
while I will probably be online a lot more now,
Mm-hmm.
so I like to get off work, sit back and play the game, just doing whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
So the Towers of Time, I got spent a lot of time in there practicing and doing the different challenges they had. So they got something like that in there also.
Yeah. That was probably the biggest complaint. One of the biggest complaints I've actually heard from a lot of people is like there wasn't enough to do. So I disagree because Mortal Kombat 11 had a ton to do, but it was
lot, yeah.
The only thing that I would critique about that was there was a lot to get, but you did the same thing over and over and over to get a lot of the stuff. Right. So but yeah, I'm sorry, I missed the make part was the story. Like what's going to make it?
The make part. Oh, you mean was two different things. I was going to say the cameos were make or break. But yeah, the story can make the game great if everything goes good with the story, and it actually makes sense, and we don't end up at a point where we're resetting time again. Then I think that could make the story great. But what's going to even make that even better? If you want one make, I'm going to say it's going to be the conquest mode.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree with you there.
Yeah, if the conquest mode can make the game for me personally, if it's a good conquest mode, we can actually get in there and actually enjoy and see different characters. That's going to make this game amazing. 10 out of 10, whatever to me. No matter how the game plays or how much I like the cameos.
Yeah,
if the cameos are too much to deal with, and I just can't make them, then that's going to break it. I don't know if I answered it right. Did I answer it right that time?
No, yeah. I was just because you said make or break, and we spent a lot of time on the break part, and I was like, oh, did he go over the make part? But
okay. I thought you meant like something that could make this game or break this game. Like this could be even really good or really
I should have explained it better. I said like what?
No.
Yeah.
Put it in wrong.
Yeah, it was the one make and the one break. Yeah. No, I agree. I think I personally I like the cameo system. I think it's a great part of it. I've said, I say this a lot before. The make part for me, I would agree with you. Conquest is definitely a big part. Is with the story, the characters, the designs, where the story goes is a big deal. To a lot of Mortal Kombat fans, including me, I am a gameplay person. I focus a lot on mechanics and competitive play, but I choose my characters mostly on gameplay mechanics, but I don't, like kind of opposite of you, because you said you like the villain characters. I like the protagonists. I like the good guys. So, it's like if you make the kind of character that I want to play and, they're a good guy, it's like that's perfect. And I'll be honest, like I've been a Katana, so Mortal Kombat 9, even I said Smoke was in my rotation. He wasn't my main. Katana was my main. MKX I made Katana and a little bit of Melina. MK11 it was mostly Katana, and also I played like Cassie and Nightwolf, but it's always Katana. I can tell you right now, in Mortal Kombat 1 I'm not playing Katana at all. She doesn't play the way I want her to play.
So based on the stress test you didn't like?
Yeah, I didn't like the way she played. And it's not to say that she didn't play bad. It's just didn't play the way that I like. And Smoke looks like he's going to play exactly how I want. So I'm looking forward to playing Smoke. But yeah, that's the make for me. The break is a month ago. It was crossplay. I really want them. I see no reason why a AAA title does not have crossplay in it. Street Fighter has crossplay. I don't think Guilty Gear does, or I think they do, but a lot of these AAA titles and a lot of like big games, Call of Duty, Halo, they all have crossplay. There is no reason why Mortal Kombat shouldn't have it. Now, a month ago, it still is my break because I think that still needs to happen. Even though I'm buying a PS5, even though I'm getting a PS5, so I don't have to worry about it. And I'm getting 2 copies of the. I'm going to get 2 copies of the game. But Anyway, yeah, that's mine. But yeah, before we go, are there any?
Did they?
Oh, sorry, what was that?
Did they officially say? Did they officially say that we won't have crossplay? I know it was on the website before saying coming later or something, and they took it off.
They
Did
did.
they confirm it's not going to have it at all?
No, there's been no confirmation whatsoever. I think so. Mortal Kombat 11 had crossplay only between Xbox and PlayStation, and there was no, and it came like at the end of the game cycle. So it wasn't even. It wasn't there at the beginning. So I want to see what they have, what they do with it now. But yeah, they said like soon to be announced or coming like soon after release or something like that, and then they immediately took it down.
Yeah, it does make it tough for us as well because even with like wrestling game AEW Fight Forever, it's not crossplay. So I mean, if you want to play with your subscribers, you got to buy multiple copies of the game. You're gonna have some people in there saying I'm on Xbox, some on PlayStation, some on PC.
Yeah,
so that does make it tough for us.
That's for sure, and I plan on doing the same thing. So for sure. And do you? I'll make sure to link in below and everything. So send me the links. Do you do Twitch or do you stream on Kick or YouTube, or where do you like to stream at?
I stream on YouTube.
Okay.
I was thinking about doing a Twitch, but I just do everything on YouTube. Now I don't do it often. I'll try at least once a week to stream. And,
okay.
I'll play with subscribers and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I was doing. I personally I don't like to stream. But
me either, but people want you to do it, so
yeah, that's true. And I'm probably gonna do it on YouTube. I did stream for the reveal on Twitch, but I think I'm just gonna stick with YouTube. So we'll see how that goes. But before
I will too.
Before we go, is there any like final thoughts at all? Any final things you want to share?
Last thought, really, I heard you talking about before that, like you want to see grapple characters in here.
Yes.
That's one thing I do want to see. Now, I never really been good with grapple characters except in Injustice with Solomon Grundy. So they got a character that plays like that in here. I don't know who it would be since Tremor has been confirmed as a cameo, but I would like to see at least one grapple character in here.
Do grapplers like Solomon Grundy was a big deal because he was the first NRS character that was like a true grappler. And I would love to see,
so good.
Dude, he was, and he was freaking annoying to play against too. And we've had like Jax kind of be a grappler, but it wasn't real. It wasn't in the way like Zangief or Manon are grapplers in Street Fighter.
Right.
You know, we've never had that, or King in Tekken. You know, we've never had those kinds of, we've never had true grapplers. And so, and I don't even play grapplers. I just want more archetypes in the game instead of just rush down or footsies or zoners, you know?
Yeah. That's another thing. So I've never been good at grapplers, and Solomon Grundy, for whatever reason, one of the best characters in Injustice, if you ask me. So I was mad he didn't make the next one, but yeah, I want to see them make another character like that.
Yeah, they didn't even really have grapplers in Injustice 2. I can't. I can't think.
Stuck with Aquaman in 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of. I mean, maybe Green Lantern, but that he wasn't even. Yeah, because he grabbed you, but that's it. Like he didn't. There wasn't really any true grapplers. But yeah, I would. I'm trying to think too, is because I would like to see. I think like Shao Kahn or Reiko would both make really good grapplers. And
right.
Did you see the leaked footage we weren't supposed to see from?
Oh yeah, the Reiko.
Yeah, of Reiko. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has the knife, but he did do a little. He did do a leg sweep, and held you there. And so I was sitting there and I was like, dude, Reiko would be a dope grappler character. So
yeah, he would. I'm surprised they didn't make him jacked up like we've seen him recently.
Yeah, I've always known Reiko to be like tall. You know.
Yeah, and he was like muscular, and he was muscular in the Mortal Kombat movie, right? The 2000.
Oh yeah, he was huge.
Was that 2021?
Yeah,
Yeah. And
2021.
I think in one of the most recent Mortal Kombat Legends, I think he was bigger. When he fought
Hmm.
Raiden,
Hmm.
he made him pretty much like a normal guy this time. But I
Yeah.
think it's cool.
You know, Mortal Kombat 11, I think a lot of people would consider Kano as a grappler character. Like kind
You know
of.
what? I never even really tried to play with Kano, so I
Hmm.
don't even remember him. But I think Mortal Kombat 11 was the best Kano, like character wise we had. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, but I don't remember his playstyle much.
I
But
liked
I just
watching
hope
him
we get a good
die,
grappler in this
but
one.
um I highly doubt we're gonna get Kano as a mainstay, or not a mainstay, but as main roster. I wouldn't be surprised if
Yeah,
he
I don't
appeared
think so.
later, but I don't think he's
Surprised.
gonna be in Mortal Kombat 1 as a main roster character. Um, I like his animations in the as a cameo. I do like how he like holds your neck down when he like lasers you.
Yeah, me too. I love that. But then when I actually got in there and playing it, it took me so
Yeah,
long to get up. I was like, man.
yeah. It's like I said, it's like takes so long to recover. You know, after that.
Yeah, I think it's just to make it
Mhm.
fair or whatever. Because after they get hit with the laser and they're getting up, they don't want you to run in there and rush them. But
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully they
So yeah, I'm looking
cut that
forward
out.
to a lot of different characters because not just different character reveals, but because the fact that Kenshi's the fact that Kenshi is a puppet character, and the
Mhm.
fact that Johnny Cage is uh what was you call a metered character. The fact that those two characters exist now and that kind of mechanics is on the table, it really opens you up to what is going to happen next. You know,
Yeah,
what else are
with
we
other
going to get?
characters, right?
And that's not to mention the 6 other characters that they just revealed for the DLC, you know, which I thought was kind of
Oh
weird
yeah,
that they revealed the DLC before the entire main roster. Cause I was like, that's,
yeah.
you know, I
I
understand
was just saying that to somebody, right?
I was like, I understand you're at Comic Con and stuff like that. But,
Yeah. What do
uh,
you think about Ermac?
God, he's so ugly. I just want to do this. I'll be on, dude. Another thing, I didn't say this in like any videos or anything, but if Paramount Pictures and Sega can push the Sonic the Hedgehog movie back a few months so that they can redesign Sonic the Hedgehog because his design was universally hated, I
Mad.
I think that NRS can do the same thing with her. You know,
Easy
super.
as slapping something on his face. That's what I gotta do.
That's what
Right.
Super said in one of his videos. He's like, just put a mask on him and you're good.
Yeah, I know a lot of people prefer the mask, but I like when they put like the mummy wraps on his face.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had him in 9 and 10. But I would want them to do that. But I think he looked great in
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 11 with the
Mm-hmm.
mask too. So no way, they just gotta put something on his face.
Yeah. Was not a huge fan of the mummy wraps, but I did really like the deception where his entire face was like black, like or he had a black wraps
Yeah,
around his face. But yeah,
yeah,
I agree. Is like I don't know why they're showing his face. I don't want to see. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I think that's super weird.
yeah. I think
So,
the stuff something covering his face would just make him. That's why I said the ninja mask. I think because they got so many masks in the game, I can understand if they
mm-hmm,
didn't want to do that. But I
mm-hmm.
mean, a lot of people are on your side saying they don't like the mummy wraps, but I like them. Thought it made them unique.
I
Everybody else had the mask. He had the wraps.
Yeah, it definitely made him unique, and it definitely carried on because of all the people to have that kind of like Egyptian theme. Ermac is definitely one of those, you know,
Mhm.
because of like all the souls that are bestowed within an Egyptian tomb, you know, put into a single body is like that. That just feels very Egyptian.
Yeah, I wonder if
Yeah.
they stick with that with him though.
Hmm.
With everything going a different way. So I don't know.
Yeah, you're kind of right. I was just thinking about that. I was like, oh, you know, in this new era, is he still like the embodiment of 1,000 souls or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see. But what did you think of Takeda?
I wasn't a fan of him in Mortal Kombat X, but I think he looks good now. It's
Mm-hmm.
interesting that he's older now, so I don't know if they're separating him from the combat kids or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ed Boon did say the combat kids don't exist. He did say they could show up in DLC as DLC. But I saw somebody else did
Yeah.
post. They showed him in Mortal Kombat 11, and I
Mm-hmm.
think Shao Kahn's ending, and he was older there too. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him.
Yeah, and I'm also wondering if that Takeda, a few people, we had a good kind of conversation, I guess you could say, on Twitter, is like that maybe Takeda Takahashi, or that may be Takeda, but he might be like Kenshi's dad. He might be Kenshi's brother. He might be Kenshi's cousin or whatever. Just because he's Takeda in this new era doesn't mean that he's going to be, Kenshi's son. And it also could, that could be the Takeda that starts the Shirai Ryu, and the Shirai Ryu may be started today, or in the present time. Because one of the theories I had is I think Kenshi is going to start the Shirai Ryu.
Oh.
And the reason I think that is because it's like, okay, for one, he's Japanese, and the Shirai Ryu is a Japanese, it's a ninja clan, and is because he needed to start it because the Lin Kuei is going down, with Bihan leading it, is going down the wrong path, that he's fighting with his brother, and they're no longer a clan of warriors that protects Earthrealm. So Kenshi, to bestow honor upon his family, is going to start the Shirai Ryu along with Takeda.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
So,
where's Hanzo? Does Hanzo help him out, or
Hanzo could be the dude?
Hanzo's just not far.
Yeah, Hanzo could be there. He totally could be there, and he could be an entirely new and different ninja too.
Right?
So,
yeah, you're right. He could.
Hanzo could be Reptile. Who knows?
That's another thing.
He could.
That'd be crazy.
He could. Hanzo could very much. Hanzo could be male chameleon.
You're right. He could be anybody.
We don't know. So I mean, we know that.
But
we never would.
Before we get out of here with Takeda.
What's that?
I gotta tell you, they might get on you in the comment section, because I had a million people in the comment section telling me his name's Takeda. So, but then why don't we pronounce his name right?
I don't care.
Me either.
I don't care. I don't care. Takeda. Fourth Snake pronounces it Takeda because in Japan it's pronounced Takeda.
Well, maybe that's what they're typing. Maybe I'm saying it wrong still.
Dude, if you're arguing how to properly pronounce Takeda, then you need a hobby.
You can make a 15-minute video. They'll pick one thing out, you said this wrong. Like, okay.
Yeah, like I said, like for instance, the comment section, I think it's hilarious. Keep going with it, dude. I'm not knocking on anybody, but just the fact that my Molina short that people are saying because I used to pronounce it Kitana,
Yeah.
Because that's
why I brought it up.
Yeah. But I know Four Snake pronounces it Takeda because that's how it's properly pronounced in Japanese, but then it's Takeda and Takeda. It's I don't care. Pronounce it how you want.
I'm going with Takeda either way. So.
Yeah, if you pronounce it Takeda, I'm gonna know who you're talking about, and that's what truly matters. So
yeah, right.
But yeah, again, dude, thanks for coming on. Kennybomb,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I put you on the screen. I have your information there. I'll make sure to link you in the comments down below. Please go and of course, like and subscribe to this channel, but go and subscribe to Kennybomb's channel. So if you are into Mortal Kombat or the AEW wrestling, he's your guy. Go ahead and check him out. But yeah, thanks again for coming on, man, and look forward to hopefully having you again as more information comes out.
Absolutely. Thanks again for inviting me.
Absolutely, man. Have a good night.